Good morning guys, and welcome to today's vlog. It is a bit brisk outside, so we're not going to hang around too much in certain areas. There's certainly a chill about. I believe there's some sort of barrage from Greenland coming about in the next couple of weeks or so. So that'll be interesting because it means we can go out and venture out in the snow, which is pretty cool. Anyway, today, after London's little bit of quirkiness and walking around and seeing some of the sights there, I thought we'd stay closer to home. We're in Milton Keynes, and I thought I'd show you three things that are quite quirky. One of them Milton Keynes is renowned for. One is a story I've heard from an area with an urban legend and a myth, and another one is a person from a bygone era who was notorious and has a story to him as well. So anyway guys, let's go and have a look. Okay, first up we have the hospital to the left of me. This is Pear Tree Bridge, and there's a marina to the right, and this is a sculpture that's been here. Although he's covered up at the moment, I say he, I don't actually know whether it's a he or a she. It is the famous Triceratops of Milton Keynes. It's been here since 1979. It was formed by a guy, sculpted by Bill Billings. Basically it's a chicken wire mesh with concrete all over it. There's a setting. Now, he never got planning permission for any of these, but there was two originally, I believe in Netherfield, that were knocked down. It's, as you can see there, soon starting to have some work done on him or her. You can see the scribblings down there on the bottom of the Triceratops. He or she is a big guy, that's for sure. Over the years it's been painted up as a Spider-Man, a skeleton. It's been gold. I think that was something to do with the Olympics. And unfortunately we arrive on the day that it's covered over before they start work. It's been here a heck of a long time, 1979. I think it's one of these things that as you're growing up, I mean, I would have been a proper youngster. I was born in 71, so this appearing in Milton Keynes is 79. Like many other people, looking out the window, going up the city centre with your parents, it's, look, there's a dinosaur. You might say it's seen better days, but they'll get him back looking rather sharpish sooner rather than later. It is actually a shame when we turn up that he's covered over, but I'll put a picture for the start of the vlog of what he actually truly looks like. Now, Bill Billings himself, he is known predominantly in this area. He's like Milton Keynes' version of Banksy. All this, he was fighting against the system pretty much all of his life. He would help kids in the schools, he would help offenders, rehabilitate, etc. He's known for, there is a famous mural that's at the Secret Gardening Wharf, and it's a great big train locomotive going along to one of the bridges. He painted that. He's famous for the concrete cows, not the original concrete cows. The concrete cows that are original now reside at the Milton Keynes village, but there was a reconstruction by them. I can't remember her name, Liz Lyle or something. She was an American sculpturist. He helped her with the originals, and he went on to recreate the replicas that now sit just by Stacey Bush's, the other side of the bridge. They're usually painted up. They can be multicolours at times as well. He also done a mural at the back of the Lakes estate. If anyone walks through the lakes and sees the tunnel going into Hunter's Drive that's all got fishes, sharks, etc., he also did that, as well as paintings. He was a poet. He moved here from, I believe it was Luton, in the late 70s when he first heard of Milton Keynes, and he come here and he's been part of folklore ever since. Now, there is one item that you would not normally see. I'll keep my teeth in a moment, which is just to the side here that he also did, that no one sees because it's on private land, so I'm going to have to nip in there and quickly show it to you. As I said, boy or girl, I'm not sure. If anyone knows whether the Triceratops actually had a name apart from Triceratops, whether he had a nickname or not, I truly do not know. Now, these buildings that sit adjacent, It's on private property. You would be prosecuted if you went in there, but I have to show you something, so if I get kicked off, I get kicked off. It's right at the front anyway. But I believe at some point people said he actually resided here. Whether that's true or not, I don't know. But if you have a look here, just coming in the sight, that bunny there, that is also Bill Billings. I don't know when it was done, but that there is Bill Billings also. The telltale sign and traits like the concrete cows, etc. It's the chicken wire mesh with the concrete over the top. A little hidden gem. This is to show you the general direction of where we'll be heading next. We're going to a place called Woolstone and Woofton, although I will not be doing it on foot. I'm just walking up to show you the general area. We have the car, as I said, it is a bit brisk, and so we don't want to be out too long. It's just a short little vlog put together for you on a Saturday of some of the quirky things that are about, some of the stories, some of the folklore I've heard. And then Monday itself, I've taken 2 days off, use up my holiday the end of the year, and I found something that Rachel certainly wouldn't want to go to, because it has a very spooky, macabre nature to it, and it's nothing that she would have an interest in. So I'll tell you a bit more about that later. So we have the Grand Union Canal, which heads south to London and north to Birmingham. And the rest of our story, our vlog I'm putting together today, all happens around this area here. This is Woofton on the Green at the back here. There's a road called Newport Road. It would have been an old road going to Newport Pagnell, and the 2 significant spots are on that road itself. There are plenty of trails out here if people want to go on an adventure, that's for sure. As I said, we're heading in that direction, roughly over there where the church is. So I'll catch you in a bit. People of old tell the stories of the highwayman and the romance of that. Basically, the highwayman, highwaywoman, etc. were just sort of people they thought were polite, which is an absolute fallacy. Not true one little bit. These people were rogues, as well as going around mugging people at gunpoint through their horse-drawn carriages. They would be doing things like arson, they would be burning places down, they would be doing burglaries, etc. But one such highwayman, notorious, infamous, say what you will, he goes down in folklore. Supposedly he done a gallop from London, I believe it was to York, on a horse called Black Bess. His name was Dick Turpin, and he was supposed to roam this area. In fact, this place we're just going to now, as I turn around here, he used to hang out there at a place called the Ye Old Swan. Down in folklore, it's written down many places. If you actually look as I go past in a minute, there's actually a place here called Turpin Court, which is supposed to depict the area. By all accounts, I believe he would stay in these sort of areas, and he would use coercion, threats, etc. to turn around and say so he could stay there without being uncovered by the law, etc. Now there is something I'm about to show you now, which is possibly folklore, possibly myth, possibly tale, possibly true, possibly not, but it's been going here for centuries by all accounts, so I shall show you it and tell you the story. So this is Turpin Court. Here we have the Ye Old Swan, and what you are looking at right there, directly what I'm pointing at there, that is Dick Turpin's stone. Now what it is in question is it's a mounting stone. He would mount his horse from that stone. He would stand on that stone, get on his horse, whether it's Black Bess, etc., and then he would gallop off. And so myth and legend turns around and says if you remove that stone, it is cursed. and all nature of unmentionable things will happen to you. But that is folklore. It's been here for centuries, and there's the tale that goes with it. This is St Mary's Church. It is also believed that he seeks refuge here using the same tactics of basically threatening, coercing them to give him sanctuary while he would elude captivity. Now, I did promise you 2 weddings, etc. Well, there was obviously weddings have happened now, and now there is obviously no Hugh Grant or Andy McDowell in this proximity, but I do know a church which I'll show in future vlogs, which Patrick Dempsey and Michelle Monaghan was in, which was a place called Maid of Honour, the film was, which is up in Edlesborough, which is not far from us. So future vlogs I will show you that. I said this is the first of the church, and obviously there was weddings here. The next place we're going to is also a church, but it's a chapel, so that will be our second church. So I am fulfilling the title of the vlog. So this is your Newport Road. Originally would have been an old lane that went from Simpson to Newport Pagnell, but since you've got the H's and V's, your horizontals and verticals, dual carriageways in Milton Keynes, it's a rarely trodden path now. Grazing animals, we do not want to disturb them. It's surprising how much greenery there actually is in Milton Keynes and the surrounding areas that many people don't take a blind bit of notice of. Do love the sound of the bells in the distance. It just adds something to the story. As I said, you find many quirky things when you're just out and about for a walk. That would have been a bus stop, but it's actually become a small roadside library. So I'm just going to go and have a nose. Never expected to find one of them along here, that's for sure. I dare say the old bus route no longer goes down this way anymore. That's what it is. So you have here a library. How bizarre is that? I dare say it's one of these ones where you pick up a book, you've got your own books themselves, and you can trade them in. Just do swapsies. No money trades hands. It's all quite a little unique find, really. The new eyesore of Milton Keynes. These things are dumped everywhere now. They're a pain in the arse. There's plenty of these little thickets about as we make our way around, and you just don't know. Sometimes you get little finds, sometimes you don't. Now these here are actually more modern mountain stones, similar to that one of Dick Turpin outside the Ye Old Swan, but for the modern day era, for people to mount their horses and go through trails. here we leave Wolfton on the Green and traverse our way through here to this side, which is a bit more secluded, and this is an area called Great Wallstone, and it has a story to it, which I don't know, some will believe it, I'm not sure myself, but it's from a bygone era, gone on for probably near enough a couple of centuries. The guy himself who's supposedly involved has been dead for 186 years or so, and the term, if you put it in a time frame, the sort of time that he was born was when America claimed independence from the UK. So that would have been 1777 era up to 1780, and then the Declaration of Independence is also in that sort of era. I'm not sure. Americans out there will jump all over this because they will know to a T the actual day, time, etc. But this could be an interesting story. Whether it's true, I don't know. As I said, this place is called Great Wallstone. Now, in Old English and in Old English terms, it used to be broken down into a different name, which was called Wolf Siege, instead of, and now it become Wolfston. Now, Wolf Siege obviously means wolf, siege means victory. Now, the story goes that back in the 1700s to 1800s, a werewolf staked claim to this area, and he attacked and killed a guy called, I believe it was either John or James Rogers, and he is buried in the chapel that we're about to go and see. Now, obviously, if you're attacked by a werewolf for some reason, they say you rise. So he rose, they killed him, and he was buried again. So he actually has 2 tombstones. So let's go and have a look. Now, of course, whether that story is true or not, or whether it's pure speculation, but it does sort of go hand in hand with the St. Peter's Chapel, which is at Stanton Low, and there's a werewolf story from there, and it only makes sense that it will carry on from here. Now, obviously, as I've said before, back in the time, kids would go missing, animals would be slaughtered. Nowadays, we put it down to a dog being on the loose. Perhaps it happened then. Who knows? And this is the now debunked Chapel of Great Wallstone, which I believe was made redundant in 73, which ironically is your birthday, isn't it, Rach? Your birthday year.
It is.
I think now they've used it as a music room, they've used it as a storage facility. Let's go and have a look. I believe all told there are 16 graves that are here, and I'm looking for a specific one. I said it's no longer a church. It's got all your things like your gargoyles, etc. The patrol, it's more of a chapel. But a chapel or church are very much two in the same type of thing. And there's some very old graves around. How are you going to make head or tail of who is who? I do not know. These are seriously old graves. Some people say these places are macabre, eerie. I do have a certain element of beauty to them. And this area here, where we're just about to have a look, is supposed to be haunted by a ghost. And that area there is an old medieval fish pond. Basically, it's a series of ponds that they would take live fish from the rivers and the canals and keep them there to consume. The tail end of the church here, old grate. A hammer, possibly a murder weapon. Why would there be an hammer, an old hammer, just dumped at the back of a church? Weird. It is so hard to depict what is Roger's grave. James Rogers, I believe his name, John Rogers, because they are so beaten up and worn down now. Could be that one. I know it's just a small grave headstone next to a larger one, both for the same person. It could be that one well within the bracken at the back there, but there's no way of getting to it. But as I said, that was the story that was untold. Believe what you will, I guess. Let's leave these people to rest in peace. Now, it may not appear to be much, but as we look from the back end of the chapel, this area here, the whole area that we were by the side of, was a medieval fish farm. I said all these little divots would have been quite deep ponds, I'd imagine, and they would hold your likes of your eels, perch, trench, pike. I believe latter years carp was introduced, and for some reason the likes of trout was not deemed as part of the food chain then, or had no value as a food. I guess it's how taste buds change. But yeah, just as an overlook, as I was looking into the chapel right there, this area come up, and it's got an interesting story itself. Now, it's turned around and said, possibly from them houses at the back there, that apparitions have been seen, ghostly figures, be it someone to do with the chapel there, or just in the vicinity. I suppose people could have drowned here in what are they? I mean, they don't look like they would have been deep pools, but who knows, it could have been a child. But with the river right next to us, and probably the canal in close proximity, when you get the times of fog, the fog would rise, cover that field, and it will give the appearance that someone was floating. Maybe there's more to it than that. I've certainly heard stories of your likes of monk type figures, which obviously goes hand in hand with chapels and churches and whatever, but isn't that commonplace everywhere? It just could be one of those things, someone's imagination running wild with them on a foggy day. They look out the window and someone's floating across a field. But it's all supposed to happen here, quite regularly as well. So there's a plaque here, hopefully it's not graffitied up, that denotes where all the fish ponds were. And like before, if I didn't look on Google Earth and looked into investigating that, I would not have known about it. So here we go. Great Woolston fish ponds. So we are pretty much standing, I would say, with the chapel there, we're standing about here where this bridge would have been, and these would have been the pond areas here. Little divots from medieval times. It just shows you how old the history of the likes of that said chapel are. I'll let you read a bit of that. I'm not actually a fish person. Had cod and chips last night, but I certainly am not a lover of fish. I don't think you are either, are you? Right? Well, you like
salmon.
You like salmon. You like tuna as well, don't you?
Yeah, occasionally.
But it's not the sort of thing you'd get swimming around here, is it?
No.
Yeah, as I say there, 16th century trout was not valued as food. But who would not value that over an eel? 14th century. That's how far all this lot goes back. Yeah, they're all the shapes all around, yeah. It's quite fascinating, something from a bygone era. Anyway guys, we're going to call it quits for today. It is pretty brisk.
It is.
So we're going to go and get ourselves maybe another coffee. We've already had a Costa this morning, but it's always nice to have a warm caffeinated beverage as we go out and do our vlogs on Saturday. Next vlog is closer than you think. That is actually going to be on Monday, which is something that you're not interested in, is it?
No.
So I'm going to do the Devil's Bridge. It's going to be like a bit of a hike and a trail through some permissible bridle paths to get to the actual place, and then it's going to get pretty spooky. So anyway guys, I hope you've enjoyed this. I hope you've been entertained. Don't get frightened or haunted out there. Leave that to us guys. We'll see you in the movies. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Bye for now.